Schweifen. Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this January 25th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're on the EOA network. And here in just a bit, we will have Union County Commissioner Donna Beverage on as a guest. How are you?
What's up?
Hey.
Is it First Friday? It is. It's First Friday.
Yeah, First Friday.
First Friday.
Yeah.
Man, this weather. It was colder today than it has been the last few days.
Yeah. Well, and that was what it was. It was just a little, and it was a little frozen. I mean, it was slick. There was black ice, and
Benny and I were talking about it yesterday. We're a long ways from winter being over.
we've got
Winter hasn't even started yet.
Well, yeah.
Really.
I hope that there's another big bout. You know,
I don't, but there's going to be.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
We're nowhere near being through the winter yet.
No.
And it's already the end of January.
I mean, I don't know what kind of accumulation we've had.
Not a lot
in the mountains, but I can't imagine we've had a bunch. Yeah.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for baseball season, softball.
Well, when it warms up just a little bit, it kind of teases you. It's like it reminds you of.
Especially when it goes from 12 under to 50 in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Because it was really cold, and then it was like balmy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it can't decide what it wants to do. Let's just get winter out of the way. You know, like from October to February 1st. Let's just get winter out of the way. And then February, bring a little bit of sun. It can be cool still.
Yeah.
We'll start fall or spring, and then but no, we have to have little bouts of this and that. It does that in the fall and the spring too. It'll rain, it'll get cold, and then the next day it'll be warm, and then it'll be warm for 3 days, and then it'll get cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we've talked about this before. Like when I was a kid, even though you wore a costume on Halloween, you were going to wear a coat over the top of it.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember, when I was a kid, I don't remember it ever not snowing on Halloween.
Yeah. And then from there on, it was winter. Yeah.
This year, there's no snow on Halloween. There wasn't any last year.
Yeah.
It's almost like we talked about the winter's getting pushed further and further. We might have to change the dang seasons or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? And I'm a fan of getting rid of daylight savings time too. Let's just do away with that. Let's just keep it the same time all the time.
I keep hearing them talking about that, but who knows whether
it's a pain in the butt anyways.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be dark when I wake up and dark when I get, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
You know, it's kind of Arizona, I think they don't observe that at all as a state. They're just like,
why is there some states that don't and some states that do?
I don't know, because it's within the state power, I guess. But that would be really strange to, live halfway.
The other thing we need to do in America is just switch to the metric system too. Everybody else uses the metric system except for us.
Yeah, that's not
every other place.
That's not going to happen.
I know, but it would make everything easier.
Well, internationally, yes, I agree.
Yeah, it would. It would just be every other place you go to, you have to convert.
Did you were in school? Were they still pushing the metrics when you were in school?
We learned it, of course. Yeah.
No, I mean, there was that huge push, and it started about when I was in
it's because
junior high.
People going into the workforce had to know metric measurements because of all the foreign stuff being shipped into America.
Yeah.
Cars especially. You're working on a car, and anything foreign, you're using metric wrenches and metric sockets.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And any any type of like household appliance that's foreign.
Yeah.
It's all metric.
Yeah.
Like that's why they were. I think that's the main reason why
No,
they were pushing
I totally know why, and I learned it then and stuff, and did it. I learned all of the equivalents, so I know.
I know how to convert it for the most part.
Yeah.
But like the other thing, like the drug industry, you don't. If you're a drug dealer, you don't buy pounds of meth. You buy kilos of coke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I realize that. I don't know that's necessarily good evidence.
Well, I mean, it's another one of the things where we take this stand against the metric, like it's un-American.
No, I don't think anybody. I don't ever hear that. No. I don't ever hear the stand.
There's not a good reason why we haven't changed.
Well, except that it's just what people are used to.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Bud says there's always a little bit of snow at the beginning of baseball season. Yeah, EOU plays about their first 6 home games over the hill because of weather every year. That's softball. It's a little different now for baseball because they're playing on the Optimus field with turf. But softball, they got to turf that field up there, up at EOU, the softball field.
Yeah.
They have to. We live in an area. I don't understand how it's not turfed yet, really. I mean, like, it's absolutely necessary. The only reason why the high school fields here weren't turfed for so long is because how expensive it is. I mean, it's just the reality of it. It costs a lot of money. You have to change it every 10 years. It's expensive. It's not like grass.
Yeah.
But EOU needs to get their softball team on a turf, especially if they're going to the national tournament. They're competing. We need as many home games as possible here, and if they have to make that investment, well, then so be it, because that'll help with recruiting too.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to recruit a girl to come play softball, and they know that they're playing their first 6 home games on the road because of the weather and because they can't play on their own field, it hurts recruiting. It really does. The field house has helped that though, because it's an indoor place where people can practice, but they don't even have that set up for balls yet. They don't have the nets or anything, so they can't practice softball and baseball in the field house yet because they don't have the netting system done yet.
Wow.
But that's a plan eventually. I was talking with Ben a month ago or so. I took my daughter up there to show her the field house and introduce her to Coach Welch, and she's not a track girl. I just thought she would think it was cool, and she did. She's a softball player, but that's one of the things we talked about was, like, eventually they're going to build on to the end of that, and they're going to put up a netting system, so basically all the teams will be able to access it, which is cool.
Yeah. What do you want to do, sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit right here in LeGrand. Go check them out. Joe and his team have a great selection of everything for your hobby needs. Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it. I got confirmation from Andrew Peasley that he is going to be on the sports show tomorrow after there's been a lot of questions, for the last month or so since football season's been over. What's he going to do next? And on social media this week, he declared for the NFL draft. So we're going to have a conversation. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments here, or you can email them to me, Kyle@EOA Live TV, or message me, and I'll ask him. I mean, we're going to talk about, whether or not he's going to be at the combine, if he's going to do a pro day, what his plans are. We'll talk about him being a dad. We'll talk about the bowl game. We'll talk about everything Andrew Peasley and what it's meant. He's got a huge following here in the Valley, and especially, people from LeGrand, because he went to LeGrand High School. And after 6 years in college, he is going to go in the draft, which is cool. I mean, that doesn't mean he's going to get drafted for sure. We don't know. But he's declared himself eligible, so he will be on the board for the NFL draft in 2024. That'll take place April 25th through the 27th. So it's a good reason for us to pay attention. You know what I mean? It'll be a great day if he does get drafted. LeGrand's girls wrestling had their senior night duels against Union and Grant County on Tuesday night. They won both of those. Congratulations to the seniors. They wrestled this weekend in Hood River at the Hood River Valley Girls Wrestling Tournament. LHS boys will be at Liberty High School for the biggest tournament of the year outside of state championship, the Reesers Invite. It's a huge tournament. It has all the best teams from 6A all the way down to 2A in the whole state. And it's everybody for themselves. It's not by classification. So, winning this tournament, you're the big dog in Oregon when it comes to wrestling. And the wrestling scene in Oregon is huge. I mean, it's a very prominent scene. We have kids constantly going to big D1 schools, going into the NAIA to wrestle, which is almost as competitive as D1 now when it comes to wrestling. LeGrand will be there, and they'll be there along with all the other top teams in 4A, Crook County, Sweet Home, all the top 5A teams, 6A teams. It's going to be awesome, and I'm going to be there as well, covering them. So pay attention, because I'll be posting updates when it comes to that. The last night we filmed an episode of Wrestling Wednesdays. It's going to come out today. It's not going to come out on a Wednesday like usual because we couldn't film it until last night. But it's the show where Clell and Dustin and I get together. We had a couple guests last night. We had Clell's son, Kai Carson, a 2-time state champion here at LeGrand, and we were talking about the struggles of cutting weight. And this is one of the stories that Kai said. Check this out.
But like I was cutting down, I was at like 26, and I was going down to 20 for this one tournament, and then I had this list. I always make a list every year. Like I have a list of food that I really want to eat, and so I made the mistake of sharing that list with my sister, and she I don't know if she did it on purpose or what went on, but throughout the week she was slowly making everything on the list.
Ooh.
And my number, it was torture. And
I've never heard this.
And my number one on the list was no bake cookies. Like I just wanted them so bad.
Man.
And I came home from a particularly hard practice where my brother had just beat the snot out of me for an hour and a half, the whole time.
Yeah.
And I walk in and then she's just in the kitchen making no bake cookies. And I lost it on her. It was mean. I really lost it on her. So she ended up being in tears. And I walked out the door fuming. And so I still had to cut weight. So I go in the hot tub and I'm sitting in the hot tub, and then my mom comes out angrier than I was. And then she's just you're done, no more, you're not cutting weight anymore. So then for the rest of the season, she had me jump up a weight. So that next tournament, I wanted to go 20, I had to wrestle 26, and then it was I had to stay 26. And then when I convinced her that I could go 20 and be nice, then I went 20. So just being a pleasant person, like he was talking about, cutting weight is the hardest part.
By the way?
That was Elena.
LeGrand's Kai Carson there is very likely that he'll be a 3-time state champion. He recently committed to EOU wrestling, and Dustin, Coach Azure up there at EOU, he's pulling in the good LeGrand wrestlers, and that's what we talked about this a few years ago. Him and I that's got to be a goal of his, is to keep these really good LeGrand wrestlers here in the Valley. And so far, he's doing a great job of it. As you can see in the video, we were joined by EOU senior 125-pounder Zach Morris as well. He'll be on the show tonight, and it's a good conversation. So tune in, 5:30 tonight, EO Live Sports. EOU men's and women's basketball are both at home this weekend for games on Friday against Southern and then Saturday against OAT. Friday is jersey night, so you wear a jersey. I think you either get them for free, and then on Saturday is Employee Appreciation Day. So if you're an EOU employee, I think you get into the games for free. The LHS boys basketball game against Fruitland last night got canceled. Both the boys and the girls played Baker on Friday in a huge GOL matchup for both teams. The Baker boys are number 1 in the state. I do believe they're undefeated. And the girls always give LeGrand a run for their money. That's boys tip off at 7:30. The girls tip off at 6. EOU men's wrestling's in Salem on Sunday for a duel against Corbin. And that's another big duel for them. EOU sits currently at number 18 in the country. And they're right on the cusp of, Dustin talks about in the show, his goal for this year is to trophy at the national championship, and they have 2 kids that have legitimate shots at winning a national championship. One ranked number 1 in the country, and then Kyle Knutson just got 3rd at the Missouri Valley Invite, and that's the most high-profile tournament in the country outside of nationals. So. We'll see. EOU, it would be awesome if we could bring back a trophy from that national championship. Don't forget Andrew Peasley tomorrow. I don't have a time yet for it, so I'm just gonna say it'll probably come out tomorrow. Sometime in the late afternoon, early evening. We'll see. I just have to wait until he gets back to me and we can figure out when we can get that interview done. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched and filmed Andrew all the way through his high school career, and he was fun to watch then. So it's just cool.
Yeah.
Even if he's toward the end of his playing career, I hope the best for him. But still, it is very cool that we have
it could
somebody
be
for
the start of his playing career.
No,
it's not necessarily the end. It could be right in the middle.
Right.
He might have another 15 years of football.
Right. Right. No, because we were talking beforehand. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are playing now
Yeah.
that weren't the first draft picks or
No.
at all. So
No, and it's a quarterback heavy class. There's really good quarterbacks in his class, but there's a lot of different opportunities. And Andrew's big for a quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's mobile. So I mean, I even if he doesn't get drafted, the chances of him signing as an undrafted free agent are pretty high.
Yeah.
And he'll likely get a shot somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll talk to him about that. I mean, the chances of him getting a shot are good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Well, and that's exciting for us here in LeGrand.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Eastern Oregon. Yep, that's very cool. All righty, well, let's take a look outside. It is a little chilly. You can see that blackness is black ice. It is, when I pulled out from the stop sign, I could feel the back wheel spinning. So.
Here? Right here in town?
No, I mean when I was leaving Island City.
I don't think we have black ice in town.
I think so.
I crossed the road twice and I didn't hit any. So
Okay.
But like on the main street.
Yeah.
But it gets traveled on a lot, so it could
Yeah. It's just Anyhow, so let's look at the weather itself. See what do we got here. So 43 high, 20 down to 29. Maybe a little bit of sun today. 23% chance of rain today, and it looks like it's going to go up as we get toward the weekend. Maybe a clearer day on Sunday. So
It looks like today will be the last day that it freezes too.
Yeah.
At night. I mean,
so it'll
if we look at the next few
continue
nights.
to get a little warmer. Yeah, that's good.
And rain. Rain. Go away.
That's right.
Ugh.
All righty. Well, Union County Commissioner Donna Beverage will be with us in just a minute.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku. Here in Eastern Oregon, we're blessed to live in such a wonderful area. And though it may seem mild-mannered, there's actually quite a lot that goes on in this area. And apparently, there's two dinguses who happen to be here that are actually crazy enough to get up at the crack of dawn to talk about it. Tune in to AM Live on EOA with Brent and Dodsey, featuring special guests, weather, sports, news, and more, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m., only on EOA Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we're back, and this portion of the show is brought to us by Valley Insurance in downtown LeGrand. If your Oregon health plan or insurance is running out, they can help you figure that out right now. I think before the end of the month, so which is just a few days or before. Yeah. So, hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, thanks for Thanks for being on this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
And you said you came in from Union and it was
Yeah,
definitely slick.
It was warmer in Union this morning. It was about 42, and
Yeah.
so I didn't think it would be slick, but on the highway, people were going real slow, and it was
Yeah.
black ice, so
Yeah.
had to take your time. And yeah, you just never know what you're going to get into. A lot of times Union will be colder than LeGrand, but
Yeah.
today it's the opposite.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about the accumulation in the mountains. And you are a farmer, so I know that.
Yeah, well, and our emergency manager just gave us a report Monday. I believe we were at about 17% of average, and in this last week or two, we've kicked up to around 85% of normal. So,
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
good.
we got a pretty good boost up in the mountains.
So 85% of normal. Okay,
Right.
meaning hoping that we have the rest of the season,
Yeah,
a good
to
rest. Yeah.
finish filling up, but
Yeah.
a lot was done in the last 10 days,
Right.
so that was good. And I know that you don't like rain, but the farmers, they need the moisture.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking to spring, and so I'm thankful for the rain, and then I'm hoping that some of that snow will stay up there, and
Yeah.
we'll have it for later in the year.
So when we had that flooding in 2019, do you recall what the percentages were then, or is it just the timing of it? It just dumped.
I think
late?
it was a combination. I believe it was in the high 120% or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that. There was more snow, but a quick melt
Yeah.
is what kills us.
Yeah.
And that's when that flooding comes instead of a slower, we
Yeah,
complain
when it gets
about.
really warm really fast.
Yeah, we complain about cold springs, but at the same time, it's kind of letting that come down slower, and then we have less flooding. So
Yeah.
there's advantages and disadvantages to whatever happens.
Yeah. Yep.
Always something to complain about.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
funny because the older you get, the more you watch the weather, or you're
Right.
concerned about it, or
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And
Well, and for people that are getting ready to calve or lamb,
Yeah.
they're watching to see, are they going to have to bring them in, or
Yeah.
can they stay outside, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this is your last year, right?
Yeah, yep.
And are you looking forward to getting back to more farming, or is is your life going to change much?
Well, I don't know. I have till the end of this year. The voters put in an 8-year term limit, so this is my 8th year. I can't believe how fast
Yeah.
those 8 years went. I'm not necessarily looking forward to not doing it anymore. I enjoy my job. Not sure exactly what I'll be doing when I get done. I mean, I'll be, old enough to retire, but
Right.
I'm not the type of person that likes to just sit around. So yeah, I still help on the farm even now, but trying to figure out what I'll be doing next. Haven't decided that yet.
Yeah.
So mixed feelings, I guess. I feel like maybe a couple more years to accomplish some of the things I'm working on, but I'll do the best I can till the last day. So
Yeah. Now, did you before you became commissioner? Did you have another occupation other than farming? Were you doing some other thing? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just unknowing.
Yeah. So I was a UPS driver
Oh, that's right.
for
Okay.
16 years, and then I worked for Community Connection. I was the administrative assistant to the executive director,
Okay.
and then worked at DHS
Okay.
for quite a while. And then before I started as a commissioner, my husband and I had opened a bed and breakfast and with a little restaurant in it. So it's definitely been working the whole time.
So and the reason I asked that is so then when you became commissioner, did you have to create some margin in some of those areas? Clearly.
No, I was actually thinking about maybe slowing down and not retiring, but just working on the
Yeah.
farm. And then that's when people started asking me to run for
Yeah,
commissioner.
okay.
And it took me a while to decide because I was kind of thinking I wasn't going to do something like this. And I always said I would never be a politician.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, but after they had asked me for a few years, I decided to go ahead and run. And when I ran my when I started running for commissioner, I decided I would run my campaign the way I would run the county, which would be very frugal with the taxpayers' dollars and listen to the people. And so it ended up that I got it. And so there it is. You never know what your future brings. You can never say, when I grow up, I'm going to do this, because I
Right.
would have never thought of this. So,
Right.
yeah.
So now that you've done it for 7 years, Are you a politician? Do you call
no.
yourself? I mean, yeah. I mean,
I'm still not a politician.
how do you distinguish that?
I'm
What-
not trying to be rude, but
No.
I'm not, and I'm not trying to put anybody down. But the connotation of politician is
Right,
that,
yeah.
backdoor deals and all
Yeah.
this stuff, which that's not necessarily true. But
Yeah.
no, I still try to listen to all sides of the issue before I make a decision and do what's best for the taxpayers, knowing that this is your money, that I'm spending. It's not my money, and so I want to make sure I use it wisely.
Yeah. When you look at, and part of this is these questions are selfish, clearly, because I'm trying to
okay.
get my head, since I'm running, trying to get my head around what it is that you do,
Right.
and you guys being on this stage has really given me kind of a great peek and an opportunity to understand.
Oh, good.
But are there, looking at our county, are there some things, I mean, you've spent a great amount of time working on water, I know that.
Yeah.
But as far as our different departments, are there some things that you think we need to bone up on, or we need to look for grant money to do more things? I don't know, what?
Well, as
yeah.
far as grant money and that kind of thing, we leave it to our department heads. Like for example, our public works director. He's going to be the one that works with the Department of Transportation or, the federal government or whatever on what he needs. So in most cases, us commissioners, we trust our department heads to do their job well. When I first came in, one of the concerns I had had more to do with the financial part of it was the golf course. And, so I started looking at, what we owed on it, what the interest rate was, that kind of thing. We had an interest rate that was going up every so many years, so I was able to go in and get a fixed interest rate, and, just trying to readjust that a little bit. And then we went from 2 managers to 1 manager. Just trying to work it out to where it could be successful still, but where we could save the taxpayers money, and that is happening. I just heard a couple weeks ago that we had about $100,000 more income on the golf courses last year than we had previous. So we are moving in that direction, and to get it paid off, and it's famous now. We've won state awards of the best golf course in Oregon a couple of years ago, and but as far as the county's in really good shape, and we have some really good people in charge of our different areas.
So as far as big chunks, are there any big visions for different areas, or I mean?
Well, a couple of the visions that I have are to worry. I worry about the employers, so I'm in charge of business retention and expansion. So I want to make sure that our employers, if they need workers, they can get them.
Right.
And so obviously, a couple of things that are hindering that are housing in Union County, and there's a lot of job openings in Union County. So those are just some things that we're working on, trying to figure out. We just basically, our industrial park is sold out, and so we're trying to rezone some land so that we'll have some commercial and industrial land. And then, so when one of our local businesses comes to us, that we can help them if they need to expand, even if it's a few jobs. But then at the same time, we need to make sure we have housing, because I do know a lot of people that have been offered a job here, but then they couldn't find a place to live, or else they're traveling from Baker City or Wallowa. So those are things that we're working on. There's always something like that, a catch-22.
Yeah.
I don't want us to be a bend or by any means, but if we do have existing businesses here that need workers, we want to help them get those workers in order to be successful and to make sure that they stay in Union County and not move somewhere else.
Yeah. Somebody was talking to me the other day about the land use laws and how much control locally we have, commissioners have over that. Maybe talk about that for a minute.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, no, and I don't
have
know.
a lot of control.
I didn't think so either.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought,
well, we did just under Senate Bill 2, we just did get an opportunity to expand it a little bit, and so the commissioners just did approve a few weeks ago another 15 acres that will be eligible for industrial land. And so 5 acres in the La Grande area and about, I think, 10 acres over by the North Powder Exchange. But it's a lot of red tape.
Because that all has to be approved at the state level,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I mean, we can definitely work with them and stuff, and we have been. But yes, there's a lot of red tape. It just doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah.
So yep.
It's not like the
City and
commissioners.
LaGrande's in that process, so they can
Yeah.
tell you it's a long process to get through and get things switched up a little bit. And you need to do a needs assessment, and there's just a lot
Right.
of steps to do.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's not like, I mean, if I understand it correctly, the state of Oregon has fairly stringent land
Right.
use laws
Across the
that
state.
apply broadly. Okay,
Correct.
and then if you like in the case of La Grande, if they want to expound housing in a particular manner, they have to show that they've used the available housing.
Yeah, there's certain percentages.
Right, right.
And then, for example, let's say that there's a percentage of land that that's available for housing, but then if you have an unwilling seller, then it's not really available for housing.
Right.
Right. So then how do you take that out of that
The
zoning
equation, right.
because of all these different rules? So it's a little tricky. It's not something you just go in and do willy-nilly.
So the expansion of the industrial park, which you've
Well, it's not of this industrial park.
okay.
It's of industrial land available.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that has pretty well been sold, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have a few lots left, but we're working on those right now. So it's pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so then that's one of the things you've been working on is increasing that area or finding other land or
Yeah, so what we did is, you may have seen some of the announcements and stuff, but I think it was about 9 months ago, we put out announcements for people that were willing to rezone their land.
okay.
That once it was rezoned would be willing to either put a business on it or make it available
Yeah.
for a business. Because like I said, it's no point in having land that's zoned correctly that's not available. They won't sell it to
Right,
anybody.
right.
And that's where we ended up with this 15 acres. We can do up to, I believe, 50 acres, and a little bit of a streamlined process. So we're still looking for land that would be available for that would, possibly fit the criteria.
Oh, cool.
And you would talk to Scott, our planner, about that.
All right.
Scott Hertel.
All right. So tell me, I mean, we've just kind of been freewheeling it. Tell me what is kind of what's new? What are some of the new things that you've been working on, or give us an update on some of the stuff?
Starting in February, the short session at the state legislature will be starting. So we're working with our legislators on priorities for each of the areas. So the Eastern Oregon Counties Association, we work together on things that are priorities, and each one of the commissioners, depending on what's important to them, are talking to our legislators on things that we would like them to push through in this very short session.
Yeah.
And they are getting ready to tell us what their 3 things that they're going to push through. And for example, like Senator Hansel, I mean, he covers several counties, not just, a couple. And so it's even hard for them to decide, if I can only choose 3 priorities and I have 6 counties, how hard is that, right? And then this very short time period. One thing I've been working on that I'm hoping to get through in the short session it's called the Oregon Water Portal. And it's a link on the state website where all of the state agencies that have anything to do with water will put all their data that they have. And that way they can see what each other have, and then the public can also see what there is, so that when we go to do studies or we go to figure out how to plan in our area, we know what's already been done. We don't, redo something that's already been done, and because right now everybody's in a silo, and I don't feel like one state agency necessarily knows what the other one's doing.
Yeah.
So we could be doubling up or tripling up, and also we don't know where our data gaps are, and so I think it's a pretty easy ask to be able to get an Oregon Water, a link where everybody puts their data on. We can see what other people have done, what they're working on, and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So that's a goal for me right now.
And are you wanting to create that
The state would create it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm asking our legislators, our representatives, and to take that and get it passed during this short session.
Oh, cool.
And it shouldn't be very expensive either. It's a link. Each state agency just puts their information in there,
Yeah.
so it's not like a big, expense.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well,
Yeah.
good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it works.
Yeah. What else do you have going, Donna?
Lots of night meetings.
Yeah.
Last night I was at Soil and Water Conservation District, dinner for them. They have a yearly dinner. Last week was honored to be at the Search and Rescue. They have a yearly award ceremony and dinner, and where they talk about all the different searches and
Yeah.
things that they've done through the year, and then they awarded Chris Wilson with the honor of being Volunteer of the Year, which she had made, or pretty much made most of the dinner that night. And she just, her husband passed away years ago, and he was part of Search and Rescue, Ralph. And but she's continued on as a volunteer, not necessarily going out and searching, but kind of in the background doing
Right.
a lot of that. And so that was pretty special. And just to see all those people that step up as volunteers in our area, and also learning how they help each other, if it's a neighboring county that needs help and that kind of thing. And those are always pretty neat things to
I'll
go
bet
to.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great group of dedicated volunteers to make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the fun things about being a commissioner, getting to go to those, and
Yeah.
getting to see, all the neat things that happen in Union County.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, a couple other things that are happening. Yesterday, had an economic meeting with Timothy Bishop from the city of LeGrand, and also the new Union County Chamber Director and the new LeGrand Main Street Director, and Elena with EOVA, Eastern Oregon Visitors Association. So we have what we call, it's just an economic development group. We get together once a month, share ideas, share things that we can do in the future for the whole county, covering the
Yeah.
whole county and really covering Northeast Oregon. But it was nice to meet the two new hires
Right.
in LeGrand, so that was a good meeting.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and Sarah was on this show about a week ago,
Oh,
a little
okay.
bit. Yeah, and Caitlin is going to be on, I think, next Tuesday.
Oh,
So,
good.
Yeah.
And yesterday was the first time I had met Sarah.
Yeah.
But I'd met Caitlin a few times, and I think they're just jumping in and going for it. I think
Yeah.
they're both going to do a great job. They had really good ideas that, honestly, some of us hadn't even thought about. So it's
Yeah.
fun to hear new ideas from people.
Well, and a fresh set of eyes.
Yes,
That's,
absolutely.
yeah.
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 Do you think turnover's good in those positions for
I
that
don't know
reason?
that turnover's always, maybe not, I don't think every year
Right,
is turnover.
okay, yeah.
But I do think, maybe 4 or 5 years or something is okay, because sometimes we can kind of get stuck in a rut, and fresh eyes. So a little bit of turnover, maybe not as much, but we've had such good people in there the last few times, and they ended up getting jobs other places, because people are snatching them up. But,
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, 3-4 years would be nice to keep the same person, because there's a lot to learn, and by the time you really learn a lot, that takes a year or two
Yeah.
to kind of get in the routine. So a little bit of turnover, but probably not like what we've had here lately.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, yeah, because there's a culture. It's not just the job, as we know.
Right.
There's an Eastern Oregon culture.
Right.
And so then, even whether that's economic development or whatever it is, you're trying to move people.
Right.
And whenever you're trying to move people in a particular direction or encourage them, you have to understand their culture.
And so that's what's neat about these two ladies that
Yeah.
just came in, is having these meetings and talking about that, and them embracing it, but yet also bringing new ideas.
Right, exactly,
That,
yeah.
that we didn't think about,
Right.
And, we talked about how important, rodeos are to this area and that kind of thing, because, we don't want somebody to move here and just be like, try to change our culture.
Right, right.
Please add to it, give us new ideas, but don't try to change it. And so I think that we've got two ladies that are in the right position to help us promote what we have to offer. Outdoor recreation is huge.
Yeah.
Not only for the local people, but for people coming through here. So
Yeah, and I hear that over and over again from younger families that are moving, and one of the, probably the numbers, they're moving here because of a job or
Right.
whatever the case, but I mean,
The outdoor
the outdoor
recreation.
recreation is probably like their number one or number two reason.
yeah, and it's year round,
Right.
with Anthony Lakes being close and with Mira and
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and I see that. That's just a cultural change that I've seen over the last 20 years. It used to be, and don't get me wrong, still shopping and restaurants and
Oh, yeah, I see what
those
you're
types of things are super important for maintaining a family and so on and so forth. And
Right.
a good school system is certainly one of those things.
Sure.
But outdoor recreation, which I've perceived to be a little lower, is that has just
It's
moved up.
popped right up.
Yeah, and part of that might be that younger couples are having fewer children,
Right.
and their lives are more based on outdoor recreation
Active,
when they were
being
younger, being active. Yeah,
Right. Well, if you think about it, in the olden days, active recreation meant going out and I still do it.
Yeah.
Going out and feeding the cows,
Right,
right? Or,
right.
stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than it used to be. There would be hunting,
Right.
people go hunting and fishing in the summer, and Anthony Lakes was always there for skiing and too. So there was a little bit of that. But I do think that that's people are more maybe health conscious and just wanting to get out and enjoy. And boy, Union County, you couldn't beat it for outdoor recreation of all different kinds.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that we're still missing is transportation, air transportation in and out.
Right.
And
they tried that, a long time ago at the airport to
Right,
have direct,
yeah, right.
and there just wasn't enough business.
It's not feasible.
Yeah.
It wasn't feasible, and it's really not feasible in Pendleton either. There's a lot of
Right.
subsidies added to that. I think it's wonderful that we have it out of Pendleton. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that it definitely wasn't feasible for us here in Union County.
Yeah.
We didn't have the population to really make it work.
Right, but so it's kind of based upon, it's dependent upon whether that private company can pay for it at the end of the day. We have the infrastructure. We have
right.
what it is that we would need to do.
No, we
that.
have a great airport. Absolutely. We have, and we are a regional hub for firefighting and that kind of
Right.
thing. And there are a lot of people that come into our airport that are traveling and, will take a car from the airport and stay a few days. So it's a hidden gem, our airport is for sure.
Right, but the thing, one of the huge things that we have to offer is this rural setting in this beautiful setting, and there are people that are moving here just to do remote work, and
right.
so, but those same people though occasionally need to go to wherever their job hub is, and
Right.
so that transportation is just
Right.
one of those missing chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but-
they would either have to drive to Pendleton and fly there, or if they have a private plane, they can fly from here,
Yeah.
or you can drive to Boise or to Tri-Cities. Last time I had to go somewhere, I just drove to Tri-Cities, which
Yeah.
is only an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and flew. So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, anything else that you can think of before we?
Oh yeah, there's.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
rattle
I'll
off.
Look
yeah.
at my list here. Yeah, we talked about water in the legislature, the Oregon Water Portal. There's stuff that comes up new every day. When you've been coming to our meetings and listening to what comes up, so you may go to work that morning and think this is what I'm going to work on. I make lists every day, and then I prioritize, and then I have my goals for the year, and so that it keeps me on task, because it's easy to get off task, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you may get to work that day and there's something totally different that comes up, right?
Yeah.
Right now, we're logging up at Mira, but we're logging on less than 1% of the property up there. So that means there's plenty of room for people to go up there. And, there's a small area closed for safety reasons, but there's many, over
Yeah.
2,000 acres where people can still go up and
Yeah.
enjoy themselves. And when we purchased Mira, part of the deal was it was multi-use, and part of that was managing the timber. So that's something that we're working on right now. And
So what you guys are logging right now is thinning, is managing it, or is
Yeah.
it harvesting?
yeah,
and
well,
helping?
thinning and harvesting. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I have a question about Mira. Do you know approximately how many people access Mira a year? Like just an approximate number?
Right. I don't have a number, but I can
A
tell you.
guess.
Gosh, I'm going to say, I'm afraid I'll say wrong. At least 3,000 people.
Okay, so
if it's
that'll
different people.
tie into my
But there's
question.
a lot of people that we talk to that, they use it multiple times a week. So that's just specific, separate people. But when we've talked to the motels, at our tourism meetings, we have a motel representative, and we ask them, when people check into your hotel or your motel, and you ask them, why are you here? Mira is one of the biggest reasons that they come here. Another one is they're on their way to Hell's Canyon.
I would think EOU would probably be the biggest reason,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's the outdoor. That's where the outdoor recreation comes. I mean, there's other reasons they're coming, but they said that's one of the main reasons. So that's always interesting for us to hear from those hotels and motels. Why people might be coming. A lot of times they're stopping on their way to somewhere. They're on their way to Boise or the Wallowa Lake. We're pretty close to Wallowa Lake for them to be stopping here before they head on out.
Yeah.
But Mira is one of the main things, and then the golf course is starting to pick up a little bit on that.
Okay, so that ties into my question. How do we keep Mira safe? Like, how often is it patrolled? Like is there regular police presence? County sheriffs going up there, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
is
well,
there
I
a
don't
park
know.
ranger? Is there something?
Sure. So next time Cody's here, ask him. I know that they're up at the campground quite a bit, but as far as the rest of it, I have no idea.
So there's not like a certain park ranger that's in charge of Mira.
Well, we have a
or-
person that's in charge of it. He's not a park ranger. He's the manager of Mira.
Right.
And his name's Josh. But that would be a question I can't answer.
Okay.
So I don't want to give you the wrong answer. But you could definitely talk to Commissioner Andrus is the liaison to Mira.
Oh, is
So
he?
you may
Okay. I
wanna
thought
talk-
you were. I thought that was.
Well,
your-
we're each liaison to different things, and he's
Okay.
liaison to Mira. So you may want to talk to him about that.
Yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, is
But as
there
far
like
as the
a?
tourism side of Mira, I'm in that, and we have talked to those motels and hotels, and they're saying that's one of the main draws for people to stay overnight here.
Huh.
So that's a good thing.
Well, and I'm sure that the actual security of it falls under Cody in some manner.
Yeah, I would have to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, Andrews has to have something to do with it. If he's the liaison to Mira for the county, he's
Yeah,
probably got the
it seems
knowledge.
like, I think it seems like one of the summer duties, and I know this because of Kyle,
Yeah, they go up on four wheelers, but they
but-
do like Mount Emily. And
but I'll bet
Fernandez
a
and-
part of their sweep is through Mira too.
it would have to be,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm not talking about like safe, like from criminals per se. I'm talking about just overall safety. You know what I mean? Like there
Right.
could be somebody stuck. Or
Right, no,
there
I
could be
would-
somebody lost, or
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, our manager Josh, he's up there every day, so I mean he's keeping an eye on that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
But as far as law enforcement, then definitely you'd probably want to talk to Cody about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else? Any questions?
Did
for
we?
me?
No, I think we're good. Did we get your list done?
Yeah, the list of main things right now. Like I said, right now we're really keeping an eye on the legislature and what they're doing, and then a lot of change in different boards that we're on. So, like Northeast Oregon Economic Development, we'll be having a meeting with them next week, and then there's some new groups coming in. There's a group called Visit Eastern Oregon that's here, and they're going to do a survey of ADA into the different businesses and how we can help businesses to be more ADA friendly. So a lot of meetings just starting fresh with groups of new people that are coming up with ideas and have grant money to be able to work on some of those. So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, great. Well, Donna, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your work and your
Thanks for having me.
perspective. Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times, but I love the mix of our county commissioners
Oh, good.
and the perspective. And I don't consider you to be a politician.
Thank you.
But it was funny. I was, but I don't. I was talking to Cody the other day, our sheriff, and he said, I hate politics, but at
right.
the same time, politics it's just a part of. It's a
Well-
part of this world. I don't know. How would you define that?
Well, I don't know. I've never looked up the definition of
Right,
politics.
yeah.
But it feels like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours,
Right.
and I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. But you're right. It is considered being a politician when you're an elected official.
Yeah.
But I'm going to look at the issue from all sides and
Right.
listen to all the people. So
Right.
I try not to go in predetermined on what my decision is going to make. I mean, I guess one of the biggest predetermines I have on any decision is, like I said when I ran, is I don't want to waste your money.
Right.
I want to use it wisely.
Right. But I think that there's compromise
Absolutely.
in
There's
everything that
always
you do, and I think
compromise,
that's probably where the politics comes in.
Yeah,
and that,
you're
and
right.
And that
you
can
can't
pollute
just
it.
be so hard-nosed that
Yeah.
you never compromise.
Because nobody
Absolutely.
ever gets 100% of what it
No.
is that they want.
Right, right.
And so,
I agree.
yeah. So, well, thank you for wading into it and serving us.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll talk to you again before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, we're going to be talking to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working on getting the slate for this entire year,
Okay.
and so, the plan is to continue to have one commissioner every.
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So your next month will be.
A few months from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Sounds good.
so yeah. So
All
we'll
right.
be reaching out and getting that schedule. Thank
Great.
you for.
Yeah, I'm
making it happen.
excited to watch your interview tomorrow with Andrew Peasley.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
The last time I interviewed him was when I interviewed him at Boise State this year, short because they lost, so we just kept it one question.
Right.
But I had him on my show when he transferred from Utah State to Wyoming a couple of years ago, and we've followed him. I'm friends with his dad, so it makes it. There's that tie. It's fun to have somebody from LeGrand,
Yeah. No, we
getting a
always
little
try to
attention.
make sure we watch his games.
Yeah, he's
It is
exciting.
It
He's
is
fun
fun
to watch.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Always wish him well. So.
Yep. Well, hey, you want to get us out of here?
Let's do it.
All right.
On this day, January 25th, 1840, American naval expedition under Charles Wilkes is first to identify Antarctica as a new continent. Are we going to go on a break?
No, go ahead.
1870, soda fountain is patented by Gustavus Dawes. 1881.
Wait just a second. Just stay right there for a minute.
That's
Go ahead. Yeah.
1881, Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell formed the Oriental Telephone Company. 1961, the first live nationally televised presidential news conference was held by JFK. 1971, Charles Manson and 3 female followers are convicted of the Tate LaBianca murders. 1979, on this day, the first documented case of a robot killing a human in the United States. 2019 on this day, longest ever U.S. government shutdown ends after 35 days when President Trump agrees to 3 weeks of negotiations on border security by a House-Senate conference committee. 2021 on this day, Janet Yellen is confirmed as the first female Treasury Secretary by the U.S. Senate ever. Number 1 song on this day in 1984, Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. And then the quote of the day comes from Chuck Berry. It's amazing how much you can learn if your intentions are truly earnest. One more time. It's amazing how much you can learn if your intentions are truly earnest. That's it.
All righty.
Next Tuesday guest is
Caitlin, what's her, I want to say Morrow, or Morrow?
No, it's
Anyhow, Caitlin is her first name.
Well, I'll know it on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Caitlin is her first name. She's the new Chamber of Commerce director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, yep, she'll be here with us. So, actually, she'll be here with you. I'm going to El Salvador for a Rotary literacy trip for the next few days.
Wow,
and so,
that's neat.
yeah, it'll be interesting. So,
Good. See you on
Alrighty.
Tuesday.
thanks a bunch.